Just say report.
Yep.
Okay.
You two want to be the readers?
It was not immediately clear which Western retailers were supplied by the factory.
Most of the victims were suffocated or burned to death within the building.
Just days ago, 3 people were killed in labor protests.
3 stories of a 10-floor building at the corner of Green Street and Washington Place were burned yesterday. While the fire was going on, 141 men and women, at least 125 of them mere girls, were burned to death or killed by jumping to the pavement below.
A factory fire outside Dhaka in February killed more than 20 people.
At a 9th-floor window, a man and a woman appeared.
Mr. Hussein said the company hoped to reopen the first 8 floors of the factory as early as Tuesday because they did not appear to be damaged.
The man embraced the woman and kissed her.
About 5,000 people worked in the building producing pans for customers in the United States and Europe.
Then he hurled her to the street and jumped.
Fire officials were still fighting the fire, which spread to the top floor in the evening as people gathered to the compound to look for relatives.
Both were killed.
At least 24 people had been killed.
The building was fireproof.
Factory officials said they know of about 20 deaths.
The walls are as good as ever. So are the floors.
The latest blow to the country's industry.
Is it a man or a woman?
Workers have said they were protesting because some factories now carried out a government-mandated 80% increase in the minimum wage. Most of the victims were suffocated or burned to death within the building. It was unclear what had caused the fire at the Hameen factory.
Trapped high up in Washington Place building.
But the investigators from the Government and Government Industry Association were still working to establish the cause.
It's human.
It would pay the families of workers killed in the Hameen fire 100,000 taka.
It's human?
He said the company expected to meet all pending orders.
A 13-year-old girl hung for 3 minutes by her fingertips to the sill of a 10th floor window.
The fire
tongue of flame licked her
10-story factory in the
dropped to death.
Ashulia industrial area.
At a 9th floor window, a man and a woman appeared. The man embraced the woman and kissed her. Then he hurled her to the street and jumped. Both were killed.
It was not immediately clear which Western retailers were supplied by the factory. Garment factories employ about 3 million of Bangladeshis, most of them women, to make for stores like Walmart and H&M.
It's human.
The deputy managing director of the Hyman Group, which owns the factory.
Is it a man or a woman?
Fire officials are still fighting the fire.
We have tried, you citizens.
Most of the victims were suffocated or burned to death within the building, which reached only to the 6th floor.
Just days ago, 3 people were killed in labor.
These poor, burned bodies.
The building was fireproof.
The iron teeth are our necessities. The thumb screws are high-powered and swift machinery close to which we must work.
The walls are as good as ever.
The old Inquisition had its rack,
So
and its
did the
thumb screws,
floors.
and its instruments of torture with iron teeth.
Police used batons and tear gas to disperse thousands of protesters.
The life of a man and woman is so cheap, and property is so scarce.
At least 50 people were injured during the unrest in Chittagong.
Public officials.
From November, the factory should have been paying a wage of at least $43 a month.
Too much blood.
$43 a month.
Sister workers.
$43 a month.
$43 a month.
Workers in some factories have been protesting,
The conditions that make life unbearable.
demanding increased pay.
400 of us burned to death
More than 3 million people,
by way of a charity gift.
mostly women,
By way of a charity gift.
work in Bangladesh's garment industry.
We have tried, you citizens.
Mostly women.
Women. Men and women.
Mostly
Mothers,
women.
brothers, sisters, by way of a
Mostly
charity
women.
gift. 146 of us are burned to death.
Police used batons and tear gas to disperse thousands of protesters in Dhaka and Chittagong.
3 killed, dozens hurt in Bangladesh clashes.
All 3 victims were reportedly shot dead.
Western retailers were supplied by the factory.
The building was fireproof.
The building was fireproof.
The building was fired.
Police used batons and tear gas to disperse thousands of protesters.
I would
and dock
be a
at
traitor
Chicago.
to these poor, burned bodies if I came here to talk good fellowship.
At least 50 people were injured during the unrest in Chittagong.
I can't talk fellowship to you.
The building was unharmed.
Too much blood has been spilled.
A girl on the 8th floor
The
leaped for
only
a
way they
fireman's
can save
ladder.
themselves is by a strong working class movement.
She was picked up with a broken back.
There are so many of us. For one job, it matters little. Returns with original receipts.
Unwashed, unworn, or defective merchandise may be returned within 30 days of purchase date for a full return.
Refunds will be issued in the original form of payment unless a merchandise credit is requested. Merchandise credit receipts are not considered original receipts. Merchandise returns after 30 days will be refunded the last activity. Sale price of the current selling price, whichever is lower, in the form of a merchandise credit. H&M reserves the right to refuse excessive non-receipted returns. Returns without a receipt, unwashed, unworn, or defective merchandise may be returned with a valid photo ID. Returned without a receipt will be refunded. Last activity, sale price, selling price, whichever is lower, in the form of a merchant credit. If the value exceeds $5, merchandise card. Final credit card purchases. Merchandise are not a refund. Credit card refunds. Paid to a credit card will only be returned to the original due varying bank policy. Please allow 1 to 2 billing cycles for the credit to appear. Hold. And relax. Toby, you may rise from the dead now.
Thanks.